Hey, what's going on, dude? It's EJ from MyPathToSelf.com here. I want to start off by saying I have not posted in a couple days because I was not feeling so good. And you know, sometimes I feel sick or whatever, and I'm realizing more and more that when I feel sick, it is almost always a psychosomatic kind of thing, right? And this is the worst kind, because that means I could feel sick, and I could feel sick for weeks at a time, and I just don't know what it is that causes it. And you know, I don't want to make this a negative video. So instead, I want to pull out the lesson that I've drawn from it and share with you guys, so you guys have the same power of your own to get over negative emotions in the quickest, most efficient way possible, which I'm finding is actually leaning into it. It sounds kind of lame, you know, it's like if I start feeling bad, why do I want to fully feel that emotion? You know, I mean, because I want to be in the most positive state possible as often as possible, you know, for the most percentage of my time. Like my ratio of depression versus happiness, motivation, all that stuff, I want depression to be the least, right? So why would I want to lean into that kind of emotion rather than fight it? And you know, it brings up this story. Like if you've ever seen Eddie Murphy's stand-up from back in the 80s, like it was either Raw or Delirious. Those were his only two major specials. But he talked about this aunt that he had, his Aunt Bonnie. And she'd come over for like a family dinner, like Thanksgiving or something like that. And she'd always fall down the stairs, right? And he said if she would have just fell down the stairs, she would have been done in like a second. But instead, you know, she fought it. And so, you know, she fell down the stairs, and it would be like a 30-minute ordeal of her falling down the stairs. And I mean, I don't want to get too much into that right here, but basically, you know, if she'd have just fell down the stairs, just leaned into it, then, you know, she'd be at the bottom of the stairs and it would be over with really quickly. But since she didn't, she tried to hold herself up on the way down. It took so much longer to get through it. And you know, you're much better off, where this applies here is, you know, you're much better off just leaning into your bad emotion. Just be like, okay, I feel like crap right now, and then dust yourself off and get up and feel great again the next day. And that's what I'm, you know, that's what I'm really been practicing lately, which you know, maybe I haven't been doing it as well as I'd like to be, but this is another one of those things that, you know, I talk about on here that I really need to start working on. And this is a really powerful one too, because, you know, if I could, you know, it's not so much about how hard you work, or you know, how often you work that hard, or so on. It's about those little breaks in between, you know, like all of us, we have something like a certain button that maybe the world pushes, whether it's your friends or your family, and you know, you can't help it. It's like other people trigger something in you every now and then to make you feel like crap, or, you know, maybe it's you do it to yourself, but, you know, usually it stems from someone else saying something to you or acting in a certain way towards you. And you know, it's not good. You know, it's like one of the few things, I'm kind of a control freak, and it's one of the few things that, you know, really gets under my skin and really screws me up for a day or a week or a month or, God forbid, a year. But it happens. And you know, knowing that is really powerful, because, you know, the more I know, the more I can prevent against it. And so what I am stressing here is I want you guys to realize that you are in control of your emotions. Maybe not always, but you are in control. And the only way to come back from a negative emotion is to recognize that negative emotion and lean into it. Lean into it. And then, you know, when you start feeling it let up a little bit, then you can use the control you do have over yourself to pull yourself into the best possible state possible. And rather than give up, you know, you can push forward. And that's what it's all about. You know, you have to push through all of the bullshit. You have to deal with the negative stuff, because it is inevitable. You know, we're always either leaving a storm, or we're in a storm, or we are headed towards a storm. And you know, knowing that is really important, because if you know that, then you realize that a storm always comes to an end, and you always have an opportunity to pull yourself up back into the best possible state you can possibly be in. So I hope you guys learned something. If you like it, please click the thumbs up button below, shoot me a comment, or subscribe if you haven't already. All right, guys, peace.